Well, hello peeps, here we have another tier list video, yes, another one, but this time we're doing a fun-based melee tier list, completely based on my personal opinion on how much fun I have in the game with these certain specs. So, without further ado, we're gonna start off with my past, actually, or where do I come from as a WoW player. So, in TBC, in the entirety of TBC, I mained Arms Warrior, and then beginning of Lich King for 1 year of Wrath of the Lich King I played Arms Warrior, and then I swapped to playing the Death Knight specs. Now, of course, these have gone through some changes, and Fury as well, but I think Arms we can just immediately put into super fun. I think this spec still pretty much works as it kind of has worked always. It still has those big nukes, big crits, it just has that warrior fantasy. The rage still works normally, which is one of the things that why I will rate Fury a little bit lower, is because I just don't like the rage, I'm an OG warrior, let's say, player, and I really enjoy the way rage works on like the rage generation and stuff like that works on like the Arms Warrior. And not to mention just again Blade Storm, the damage profile of Arms, all of those just fit to me as an older warrior player, and just I just love Arms, right? On Fury, I would actually put it into good fun. I still have a lot of fun with Fury. It's definitely a fun spec, but I don't know how to say it. It's very ADHD. Let's just say it like that. It's very spammy sometimes. It feels like the rotation is okay fast, but it's like 2 buttons, 3 buttons right rotation that you're just kind of spamming over the time. So you can feel kind of ADHD, let's use that as like a term, but otherwise really fun. Sometimes I'm like, I just enjoy much more the normal warrior playstyle of building rage and spending rage. It's pretty much it. So that's why I just rank Fury a little bit down. Now, Unholy and Frost, I'm gonna put them here for now. Unfortunately, the Death Knights have gone through some changes, and these are not really the specs that I played. This is not really the class that I mained, to be honest. And I have kind of a problem with each, and I'm not basing this on their power in the meta or anything, right? I'm basing this just on their overall design. So, with Frost, I actually find Frost almost unfun. I'd say it's some fun. It still has the cores, the Howling Bass, the Obliterates, the Frost Strikes. It still has those cores of the Death Knight. It's just in PvP and in Arena specifically, it has become this combo class, and I thought Blizzard was gonna try and move away from it, but Blizzard actually went down and doubled down on the combo aspects of the on the Frost, the Death Knight, and unfortunately this is just something that's, to me, like, I guess a borderline unfun. Like, I'm very close to putting this spec into unfun, but it just still has those core Death Knight features that it still it's still a Death Knight, and I just love Death Knight. I played Death Knights for 3 years, like just Death Knights, so it's definitely for me, still has those cores, but overall it's in PvP when you go into Arena and you're like, it's too focused into that combo niche aspect, which I don't know, I felt like Frost and Unholy, of course, before were a lot more similar, where you just, you were a Death Knight, it just, Unholy was focused on diseases and haste and like, Mastery later in Cataclysm for Frost, right? But like, you get what I mean. Like, Unholy, I actually find Unholy a little bit more fun, simply because it doesn't have that combo playstyle, but where I find Unholy and fun is just its damage breakdown. Like, last season it was so boring. I didn't play in Shadowlands Unholy, I have to admit to that. I played a little bit in BFA, and I played Frost a little bit in Shadowlands as well, but unfortunately, just for me, it does not fulfill that Death Knight fantasy like before, and sometimes I just feel like it's too much different, like I said in my rant, too many different facets of damage that ultimately make this class kind of feel weak when you're casting your abilities, right? Because there's so many different things that can kind of going on. Like right now, the current iteration in PvP with its buffed in Death Coil, I would even put it into super fun. But just knowing how this class could probably switch back to like pets again or something like that, it's just yeah, unfortunately problematic. Moving on to the Bane boys, which are gonna be, of course, the Demon Hunter and, of course, the Enhancement Shaman. and just not much to say. These classes I just find extremely fun to play. Demon Hunter, extremely mobile, especially coming from like the old version of the warrior, right, where you had one bait charge and stuff like that. It just felt so freeing. The jump, double jump, which no other spec class, race, everything has. The flying, just so many different aspects of this spec feels so good in PvP, world PvP, BGs, all different aspects of PvP. Of course, in arenas you can't really leverage the flying that much and stuff, but you get what I mean. Like, this spec just is really a fantasy. Even though the class fantasy is not for me, I don't see myself. I see myself as a Death Knight, maybe more, or as an Enhancement Shaman, right? Overall, it's just a fantastical spec, modern class, which is not bloated with too many buttons. It has just the right amount of buttons. Honestly, DH is the model class as far as I'm considered, model spec, as far as other specs should be modeled to be more, as far as buttons are considered, just how many buttons should be more like DH, right? So, just how I feel like DH is just a modern, really good spec. Shaman, I don't know, something about the fantasy. This is more maybe the fantasy, the Enhancement Shaman fantasy, but like old Wind Fury's fantasy, the new, I guess now you don't have really the Wind Fury fantasy, but like you get what I mean, like the, I don't know, this Elementalist warrior fantasy, just with Enhancement Shaman, it's clearly just, it's all about the class fantasy, and I love it, and I enjoy it. I don't know, it just feels so good, how you say, to smack people with the Enhancement Shaman. I can't really like argumentize it really, kind of, would you say, more in depth than that. Moving on to my main beginning of Shadowlands, and that's gonna be our boy here, Aikido, that's the name of the character, but our boy Windwalker Monk, and it's honestly a very beautiful spec, especially very similar to how you say the Demon Hunter as far as mobility. Was very jumpy, very, right, can be ADHD doing the rotation. The rotation is one of those, how you say, when you start learning the Windwalker rotation and doing it, it just feels so fluid and like mobile. It's just so, I don't know, there's like a specific feeling to playing this spec. But it's just in PvP, ever since I've played it in Shadowlands and stuff, it's just always been this very like, the kind of meme that like Retribution has, it's all in the burst. But well, with Windwalker it truly is all in the burst. Right, and it can also really be painful in certain, like when like warriors are just too strong and some other specs are too strong, like rogues. It can just be really painful class to play, but ultimately the thing that why I'm putting it into good fun is just that the playstyle of like the hit and run playstyle is ultimately not like, I do like to hit and run a little bit, but with Windwalker it's just way too much. Like, you have to hit and run, especially in today's game, right, with any kind of melee, but with Windwalker I just feel like it's too much hit and run maybe sometimes, and yeah, that's pretty much how you say why I just put it slightly below the rest, why it's just slightly below arms on DH and Shaman. Moving on, survival, really fun. You might be shocked where I'm gonna put this class. Actually, this is like honestly one of the most rewarding specs in the game, and I don't know what about it, but maybe just the hunter playstyle, but it's so rewarding to get the traps going, the good CC, saving your teammates by, you know, doing good CC or doing good kiting with a melee spec, you know. It just, I don't know how to say it. Like, there's a special kind of reward that, how you say, your brain internally happens internally in your brain when you do good with Survival Hunter. That does not really like happen with Arms Warrior or even with like Demon Hunter. Like, when you do good with Survival, you feel like a mastermind, you feel like a tactician almost, right? It's kind of like a rogue feeling as well, but it's like, I don't know, like kind of added with Survival or with Hunter specs in general. Like, we're not ranking the other ones because they're not melee, but in general, Hunters rank really fun, really high here. And Hunters are also the first spec I ever played, the first class I ever created. I ultimately chose a warrior to level up and fully and play with, but Hunters are still kind of one of those classes that are very nostalgic for me, right? Moving on, Feral Druid. This spec is just super duper fun. Only reason why I'm putting it into good fun, actually no, it's not good fun, it's super fun. There's nothing that much to say. How would you say? It's just super mobile, unstoppable. Mages can't poly you, bro. You're just mages can't stop you. You're like a how would you say? It's one of those things. I hate mages, man. If you haven't watched my content before, I have a, how would you say, a little bit of a rage thing for mages. I just Feral just feels so freeing to play compared to other specs, like compared to playing like Arms Warrior or let's say even a Demon Hunter, right? Because you can get rooted quite a bit, and those are quite a problem for a Demon Hunter. For a Feral, yeah, I mean, it's just you don't care, man. You don't care about anything movement speed related. You don't care for polys. It's just beautiful. You're a rogue, you're also tanky when it's like, how do you say, a better meta for the Feral. Of course, you're also pretty tanky, you just go bare form and like survive everything. Just everything, you stealth, just delicious spec. Going now to the Retribution, one of the most, I just like this expansion, one of the most fun specs because of its strength. But in my opinion, it's a good fun spec. It's a, I'll put it into good fun. Honestly, I'll put actually, yeah, like this. Honestly, yeah, it's more of a tier list skewed up top, like because only like a few classes I have a problem with specifically. Just my problem with Retribution is just that I'm not as good a Retribution Paladin as I could be, right? So I just that's pretty much the only thing that I have a problem with it. It's just sometimes I'm not good at using the abilities and utilities and stuff like that on my team. But that's what I'm realizing, that it's still just an extremely fun spec. Other than that, fluid rotation, extreme damage and burst, but again, that's kind of how the spec performs currently, so not something we should be really looking at. It's just overall, rotation-wise, talent-wise, everything-wise, just feels really good. Yeah, definitely a good fun spec. We're going now into the rogues. We're gonna rate them kind of side by side. Rogues, the rogues. So I unfortunately didn't play them this expansion. I leveled up my rogue a little bit, but unfortunately didn't play like PvP and stuff this spec. But I think they just kind of remain the same right now before the class rework for the rogues. So I can put sub here. This we're gonna derank. This honestly, Frost does have the core stuff, but it's just the rest of it just sucks for me. This goes up, and this goes here into unfun. So start off with assassination. I just don't like assassination. That's, I don't know. I don't like the. Is it rotational wise or something wise? Not my playstyle, not my thing, even though I like Feral Druid and I rank Feral Druid and dot. It's not like I had something against damage or time or something like that. I just did not like playing Assassination in Shadowlands, even though it was really good in the meta at that moment and stuff, and I tried it again in later expansion, later season as well, and just, I don't know, it's not my style. Subtlety is more of a, how do you say, skill issue. If I was better at Rogue and better at Subtlety, I would put this into, you know, super fun. Right, this is just like when you do good, super fun, but when you do bad, it's unfun. So that's why I'm gonna put it, honestly, I'm gonna put it into fun. Right, into the fun category, just because of that. It's like, when you do good on this spec, it just feels so rewarding and so good, but when you do bad, it's just unfun as hell. And Outlaw, I don't know, I just really enjoyed the tankier rogue spec. Yeah, it's just it's a lot more close to Demon Hunter and of course the Monk, so of course I'm gonna enjoy it a lot more than the other specs of rogue. Ultimately, just how you say, just fits my playstyle better than the other rogue specs. Had before the 7-second kidney shot. It just, yeah, it's just to me better. You don't have to play as much as in stealth. You don't have to hit and run as much. You can pretty much, you know, man up to other melees and stuff. So it just felt more like my personal playstyle, where I like to, I guess, outplay my opponents in their face, not by running away. basically. Well, peeps, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things that YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.